Really, I was really since yesterday.
I have with me here today Sam Allen, who is stationed mostly in London, right?
Yeah.
But has been here in Singapore for the last few days. She covers a broad range of sustainability, wellness, uh, and everything we're trying to do to reach a net zero carbon future. Like, what are the things they have to look out for primarily to achieve that?
So there's two parts when we're looking at carbon in the built environment. There's the embodied carbon, which is the carbon of everything that you can touch and you can feel, anything that's tangible.
Mm.
And then there's the operational carbon, which is the carbon that comes from energy consumption, water consumption even. Typically, we don't count drinking water in that because that's essential, but it's more processed water and
Yeah.
things like that. So when we're talking about embodied carbon, that's really important when we're talking about interior spaces and fit outs, as you know, there are so many different bits and pieces, and everything has a carbon value, from the raw material extraction to the manufacturing process, to the energy that it takes to get to site as well. And then also the installation works of when we build a space, we're using energy to, for power tools and things like that.
Yeah.
So all of that comes to the embodied carbon of the space. And then also in terms of maintenance of those items, if we need to do repairs, if we need to replace things, reupholster, those all add to the embodied carbon. And then also the end of life of that object, of that space, of those finishes.
So I'm imagining, and I think I've learned from you that embodied carbon, uh, there's a peak at the beginning when you're building this out.
Yeah.
Then there's mostly operational.
Yeah.
And then it's a peak when you're either demolishing or repurposing it elsewhere, I guess.
That's correct.
Okay. And then if people want to embark on this, what can they do? What steps do they have to follow? Do they have to get certain certifications and to prove that they have achieved it? And what's involved in that?
So most of the time we're going to be using a couple different tools. There's an ISO standard for products out there. There are a couple other of ways to measure carbon within a particular object or product. But then there's also ISO standards as well as international standards that can help a project or a company identify their space as being net zero. The one that we're using now is from the International Living Future Institute, called the Zero Carbon Certification. And that looks at both embodied and operational. So you need a year's worth of data from day one, so that you can have you have the energy model, which gives you the estimated operational carbon, but then you've also got the actual use data for the at least the first year. And then, understanding how you manage that and making sure that the energy that's being supplied comes from renewables, or that you're putting an equivalent amount of renewable energy into the world of what you're using.
So projects that M Moser and others have completed for their clients now, and they've moved in, it'll take a year to gather that data before they can really achieve that rating.
Yeah.
And I think I know the answer to this, but what are the greatest number of certifications achieved by any one single project that you've been involved in?
So I think there's, in terms of those that are already achieved,
or close to achieve, whatever.
Well, the one that will be, I think, our most ambitious yet, and most ambitious for the client as well. They really wanted it to be a landmark for sustainability, is the new HSBC headquarters in New York.
In New York, okay. Yeah. Okay, so with all these standards, do you feel that some of them are more crucial than others?
I think it really depends on the organization's goals
Yeah.
and their targets. I do think that everyone needs to be looking at their carbon and ways in which we can reduce that. We've already overshot the 1.5 degrees C as of last year. So we really need to be making a bigger concerted effort towards a cooler future. But I think that there are many ways that we can do that.
Okay. It's just that I'm sure people are anxious to make not only meet regulations, but make a big difference in the world because it
Yeah.
is so urgent.
Well, there are a lot more regulations coming into play, and we are seeing in New York specifically because they've introduced what's called Local Law 97,
Mhm.
which will start taxing organizations based on their carbon output from operational carbon.
I see.
So that's where it becomes, very much a regulatory process that companies need to comply with. It's not that you have to meet a certain target or else. It's just, well, the or else is you have to pay.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to avoid that.
Okay. Well, every time I meet you, I learn so much from you. But if other people want to learn more about this, how can they do so?
There are plenty of different resources out there. I'm learning all the time,
Mhm.
and there are new organizations and programs. There's a lot of free webinars out in there. I subscribe to ESG Today, which sends me a daily email, just giving me the headlines of what's going on in the world. But there are dozens of others that you can get from, and they post, free webinars and free information sessions that you can sign up for. There are, of course, paid courses as well. I'm looking to maybe get the CFA ESG credential, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Busy person.
Well, you've already got about 1,000 letters after your name, so
Why? What's a few more?
that's a few more.
It's all alphabet soup.
Okay, well, thank you. And I hope we can do part 2 again. I hope you come down to Asia more often.
Yeah, well, my parents are in KL, so I'll take any excuse to
Wow,
get out
I
here.
didn't know they were.
Yeah, I grew up in KL.
I didn't, nobody ever told me. That's fantastic.